Utilitarianism is a theory holding that the proper course of action is the one that maximizes utility, specifically defined as maximizing happiness and reducing suffering. That's a definition that Wikipedia.org gives of utilitarianism. Normally when someone asks, why do we bother doing things that help other people? Why should we donate to charity? Why should we volunteer our time? Why should we be kind to other people? Say please and thank you. They give utilitarianism as the philosophical justification. It increases utility in society. It makes everyone happier and it makes society run smoother. And I also like that this definition includes actual terms that describe things in reality. It's not saying be good and don't be bad. It's saying increase happiness and reduce suffering so that we can actually apply the definition to our lives. However, upon evaluating it, I don't think it really makes a lot of sense and truly works considering the way our biology works. And here's what I mean. When I say how our biology works, I'm referring to the reason why we do things. Why do organisms do things? Like take a random squirrel or a raccoon that's living in your dumpster. Why are they existing? Some might say they exist to live to the age of reproduction, have sex, and have babies. And while this is true in the grand scheme of things, on the microcosmic level, it's not. No squirrel's going around saying, alright, I'm going to have sex, I'm going to have 20 babies, this is going to be awesome, and I'm going to perpetuate the species. They aren't saying that. What they want is to do things that make them happier and reduce their suffering. That's why sex feels good. It's nature giving us a perk of having sex. It encourages us to have sex. We aren't just laying around doing nothing and we go extinct. It also explains how in a biological community, you can have an organism that commits suicide, even though that's not something that will help perpetuate the species. That organism is having pain, and they're doing whatever it takes to alleviate that pain. Even though it's not perpetuating the species' existence, it makes sense for that individual organism at the time. So I think it makes sense to say that we're going to do what makes us feel better and what we think will benefit us, and we'll avoid the stuff that doesn't. One big thing that we as organisms tend to experience that makes us feel better is empathy. Not even just humans, but lesser organisms as well, those that are less developed. It's been shown in various scientific studies that lab rats can display empathy towards each other. And I'll link a very interesting article discussing that down below. But the interesting thing is, when we do some selfless act for someone else, we oftentimes feel good about ourselves. Whether it's big or small, if it's something we could have done to make their lives easier and we did it, we feel better for it. So I think it makes sense to say that we personally gain from doing this. We profit from it. But utilitarian philosophy seems to promote the idea that this isn't something that should give us a high. This isn't something that should make us feel special. It's just the baseline expectation of what we need to do to live. For example, take me in my life, being an adult. I want to be taken seriously, a person who does things and achieves things in their lives. The fact that I prepared breakfast for myself in the morning, made my bed after I woke up, and wiped my butt after I pooped, doesn't make me an independent adult. That's just baseline things I have to do in order to even begin to be considered an adult. If that's a bit of an arbitrary example, here's another one. Take the nice guy who's put in the friend zone because he's just too nice. Now, oftentimes this guy really isn't nice, but let's assume he is. He's just a swell guy, and he'll love you, he'll kiss your feet, and all that great stuff. That doesn't necessarily mean he's a good person to be in a relationship with, because when you're in a relationship, the person has to offer you something. You have to feel like your life is better for being in a relationship with that person. Oftentimes it's because they have mental and emotional stability, so they can be a source of security for you. They have some sort of interesting faction of their life which can enrich your experience in life. They have hobbies and skills that keep them busy so that they can constantly expand their minds and have something to share with you. Not to mention the fact that they have something to distract themselves in life so they aren't totally dependent upon you and clingy. People need these types of things. And when we talk about girls going with assholes, I think that girls go with the assholes because they offer all of these things, the things that are really matter for them. Now, it doesn't often last because they don't have the foundational stuff. They aren't kind, they aren't empathetic. But the fact is, the nice guy doesn't have the important stuff. He can't truly achieve the relationship. And why? It's because he doesn't have the extra stuff. The stuff that really makes it worthwhile for him. He just has the baseline stuff. That doesn't mean anything, though. It seems to me like through utilitarian philosophy, being empathetic and looking out for the interests of others shouldn't give you that high. It should just be the base level of existence. And when you really think about it, that sort of obligates you to do anything and everything you can to help anyone and everyone in the world around you. For example, let's say that you work a minimum wage job and you just barely get by. Then the next month you get a little raise and you get 50 extra bucks that month. Now, you could do it to expand your luxury in your life a bit, but it seems like you're obligated from this perspective to give it to charity or spend the time that you could have made that extra money in volunteering. Every time you have some way that you can help someone, you should be expected to. But you're not a good person for doing so. That's just what you have to do in order to even begin to be considered a good person, like making your bed or wiping your butt or being a nice person. It's not special in and of itself. So that seems to contradict the way that we function. Rather than expecting everyone to do everything they can to help everyone in the world and not expect anything in return, we should embrace the fact that we're selfish and recognize that we are going to do things for our own self-interest. When we help other people out, we largely do it because it makes us feel better. Whether we get something physical in return, maybe monetary compensation, maybe someone thanks us and says you're an awesome guy and it makes us feel awesome to be recognized. Maybe we just have a heightened sense of empathy and we feel like we're better because of what we've done. Whatever the case is, we want to get something out of it, and we should keep doing kind things for other people until we feel like we've gotten enough out of it. If everyone did this, then the world would be a much better place. And in my opinion, this is a much more pragmatic way of making the world a better place while increasing happiness and reducing suffering. It's not something that every individual can just do on their own as an act of charity. It's something that we, as a society, have to develop by changing our perspective of how people work with each other. That's my opinion anyway. Thank you.